All righty, let's call this meeting order. Please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Number 3. Sarah, do you have a speech for us? Any citizen desiring to be heard? Hearing none. 4.
We need to scratch that.
No action on 4. 5. Consideration and possible action on completing officers' report and estimate of needs for the following accounts and sub-accounts. Alrighty, let's start off with commissioner salaries.
Just so everybody understands, I mean, we all, I think, understand this, the reason we took no action on 4 is because we did that action yesterday at our commissioners meeting.
Right.
Right. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt too much, but I did mean to interrupt.
So, under commissioner salaries account, just for Monty is 205, 200. I think that's a done deal. Did y'all
Yeah.
want anything of that?
Then we're gonna come over to your house to eat, right?
Not sure if he.
Maybe your spare room.
Looks like everything's the same. We bumped it up $100 a month for.
Well, just to be clear, what I gave you were recommendations, suggested estimate. You all change it to however you want. I did try to put some notes as to where the recommendations came from.
Well, the commissioners is pretty set.
And yes,
Very much.
unless y'all want to increase it again,
Increase what?
the officer salaries.
I didn't know we'd have to do all the officers. I knew that, I was just. Okay, so, let's see. Last year's,
Was 2052.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and this year we're, no, I was looking at the total, Monty, I'm sorry.
The number you all put down and was funded last year was a little long. You had rounded up figures, so there was extra
Okay.
in there.
It
That's
was about $10,000, right? What was that? Almost 6 in salaries and almost, and 4 in travel, 4,740 in M&O.
Those are the unused.
Right, so that would be, that's kind of where I was looking at what we, and this is projected to the end of the month?
Yes, that's what the reserves were to cover.
Yes, ma'am, okay,
Mhm.
okay, that's what I'm.
Now, and also remember on this salary amount,
Well, that's pretty close. though.
with
I mean,
those
that's really
increases, part of this unused in the salaries was because that number didn't kick. There's like 4 months
Right.
that wasn't used that will be in this next fiscal year with the salary increases.
So the total of 23 or 23,000 or $235,010. I don't know where the $10 came from. Is probably going to be there's maybe $3,000 or $4,000 overage, and it's that's a pretty close number. If what you say, if what you're telling us about the 4 months is true, then this total's a pretty good.
It's going to leave some rollover. I don't think you'll use it all in the fiscal year, but
Well, we don't want to run out.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Because then Monty's going to have to go without money for.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Eat starve.
I'm used to it.
I think it's a decent number to budget with.
Mm-hmm.
That's on salaries.
Mm-hmm.
So travel, I mean, that's.
Travel is no longer.
What about let's just say that Sarah had to be off for X amount of time and we had to bring someone in part-time. Would we have the ability to transfer some money? And so really, we don't need to fund it then?
no, we just put the 5 so it's an open account.
So we can put money in it if we need to.
So, travel, I mean, that's pretty cut and dry. Commissioners, gentlemen, know we're carrying over $740. Y'all good with all that?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I was looking at the total,
Yeah, total. So you-
and I thought it was pretty close.
All right.
Yeah, it is. Good deal.
So you're gonna leave it as recommended?
Yeah, so.
And that gives, $100 extra a month for Sarah for a raise, right?
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah, I'm good with it.
Mhm.
So do we want to make a motion on a page by page? Or
I would
line
suggest
line?
by, not necessarily line items since you're good, but on the commissioners, the 0800 account.
Okay. I'll make the motion to approve
I will second that.
So I have a
And I'm gonna
motion.
put it as recommended.
as recommended.
Okay.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on that? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
So what account do you call this? General good?
General government.
Mhm.
This is where we,
Pay most of the county bills. The
Mhm.
utilities, the phone bills, all of that, insurance,
Everything for the.
property and liability insurance.
And is this where your rainy day funds at?
Yes.
Okay, just saying. Not your squirrel, not where you squirrel away, right? It's the rainy day fund.
Yes.
Okay.
And it's also where when a shortfall comes that we're gonna
Yes,
have to.
yes, ma'am. I understand the reason we have that. Yeah, absolutely.
I used 577.
man, I can't even see this.
77. Interesting.
That was our savings account. The only thing that was really different that was added was, and I put an explanation here, was I added for safety award. It's not something we've been able to afford to do for several years.
Yes.
And then after the budget was all said and done, I got a phone call wanting to know if, since we had money last year, why didn't we do the safety award? I said, well, it wasn't even in to be asked for. So, in light of that, I added it in. Of course, it would be the first thing to go in shortfalls if y'all needed to, but
So
it
that's-
made the option.
So that's 42.5 is what you're talking about.
Right, and if you look down here,
Mhm.
I went based on 170 employees. The maximum allowed by law is 250. However, when we've given it in the past, we prorated based on years of service.
Sure.
So, if you started 3 months ago, you're not gonna get the same as someone who had been here, through a period of
So,
time.
if we're gonna give safety awards, wouldn't we, I mean, I like performance-based awards, right? So if somebody was in the shop and dropped a tire iron on their toe and, had to go to the hospital or, was
Violated safety.
involved in an accident that could have been avoided, crawling around under a belly dump without a helmet on and, wasn't wearing the PPE, that sort of stuff. And I'm just,
And I understand.
Is that something as a board we want to look at, or?
Well,
I
the guidance that we
I
were
mean, you
given.
understand.
We've been down that rabbit hole, yes. Go ahead.
The guidance we were given in the past
Mhm.
was the problem is when you start doing that, you have people that may not report injuries because they're gonna lose the money. And so we were advised that you're better off to just use it as an incentive and encouragement to be safe, not to hinge it on actions previously done.
Was that Nancy Pelosi that gave that advice?
No, that was ACO.
Well, okay, same thing.
Little Nancy.
So, y'all, it's however y'all decide to do. We don't even know if we're gonna have the money for it, so.
Well, I mean, it's like just giving blanket awards to everybody because everybody needs a trophy. I have a hard time with that.
Well, if the press wasn't here, I'd tell you what I think most counties actually look at that for, so, but I'm not gonna put it out there for
Oh,
the
well.
press.
Okay.
The employees look at it as a Christmas bonus.
That's right.
Mhm.
We lawfully cannot do that, so this is the way the legislature gave us.
So
to do
we
it.
normally give safety bonuses around Christmas time, is that what we?
Yes.
For the calendar year, because they can only
Yeah.
be done in a calendar year.
I see.
And so that was the legislative fix to not being able to give Christmas gifts.
Well, far be it from me to say bah humbug. Understood. All right. Well, like I said, if we run into a shortfall, that will be one of the first areas we'll need to scratch. We took it out last year, I guess, so. All right, general government.
I
So-
know,
Go ahead, sir.
I know the ideal, you know, a perfect account, you wouldn't have any unused money, but I kinda like the unused money category.
We're building up a decent carryover in
Yeah.
case of
Safe.
some severe emergency, and, you know, we haven't had that. We've really tried to work to try to get some savings, some rainy day or,
Well, it goes back to, you know, the things that I've talked about on our budget here. And that is that once we look at the income, what comes in and how much we budget, right? We always budget more than our income. I mean, ever since I've been here. But we never spend it all, right? And if we ever do that, we're in trouble, right? Because then it's like the state legislature, this next legislative session, they went and raided all their cash accounts and did all that stuff this year because they didn't want to cut services and didn't want to do some other things. And next year they're going to raise taxes probably. But my point is, if we ever spend that rainy day fund all at once, all of it, if we ever expend everything that we budget, then we're broke. I mean, we're broke twice. We're broke that year, and where we start off in the hole the next year, and it gets ugly quick. So, I just wanted to say that, Monty, I support that carryover as well, because fiscally, it's a responsible thing to do.
well, in all honesty, none of us have a crystal ball. I mean, we could have a serious plumbing issue that costs $100,000 or, you know, various things, and we've had those in the past.
Yeah.
You know,
And insurance doesn't always
that we
cover.
can't say we know is coming, it just boom, blows up. So.
$50,000 flagpole.
It was not 50, it was less than 3.
Oh,
Sure is pretty though, ain't it? Hey, we had it in time for Flag Day as well.
yeah.
Well, gee.
I really don't see a big problem with the general government budget for next year. If we want, I'll move. How'd you word that?
As recommended.
As recommended. We
I'll
approve as
second
recommended.
that.
Okay. So I have a motion and second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I do have a question. How come I'm not seeing, I mean, I know my item in that stuff, but I'm not seeing on here, the road account.
Well, and I'll tell you why, it was nothing that was funded to it, so it didn't print a sheet. I mean, you can add it
Okay.
in, but
It's all zeros.
on the agenda,
Do we want to keep?
there's an item.
I seen it.
Do we want to keep a $5?
We can, but I mean, that, when I did
Yeah.
these, it was no reflection other than there wasn't anything there, but the final.
I mean, just in case
Absolutely.
something happens that.
We can,
Well, I mean, my intent today is, this is the estimate of needs, this is our wish list, basically.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm gonna wish money in that account. Rather, I mean, then if we have it, we have it, if we don't, if I don't ask for it, I'm not gonna get it.
So let me modify my proposal then, that we add $5 to the What was that?
Can I ask you to hold that till we get to that item?
Oh,
It's
we're
not
not-
part, it's not
not
part of
anything-
this.
Yeah, we're not on that one.
Oh,
But
okay.
I didn't see it
Oh,
on
okay,
here.
okay, well, I thought it was
That's
in
my
here.
point.
I thought that's why you brought it up.
This is the last item.
No problem.
I have a
Yeah.
motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the motion carries. So we're carrying over. What a great big mark.
So this is insurance we're looking at now?
So, I was asked, the new forms I set out this morning, if you will look in here, there's one that covers the FICA accounts and there's one that covers the retirement accounts. For general fund to pick up 100% of the FICA countywide, you'd have to increase at minimum $215,000 into general to pick up all the other.
Wow.
And on retirement, you'd have to increase $460,000 to pick up all of the retirement.
Oh my.
So that's what these additional
That's my
funds.
motion right there.
There you go.
Okay, just to make it work.
56.
If you look, it breaks down each account and how much you've done this year. So you can look at your own district, the resale. Like I said, it's, you know, it's all the other funds. So I have that there for you.
Well, like in FICA this month, I put $3,800 in that account to cover my own FICA, my own.
Through yesterday's payroll, this does not, and still one coming, you've spent $93,087 in FICA. No, in retirement. In FICA, you've spent $42,404. That's actual expenditure.
Well, see, I could do a little trade-off here. I wouldn't have to ask for a highway levy account if I could get the retirement covered through the general
If
government.
you think you can find a couple of $100,000,
Yeah, we can get rid of some county officers and stuff.
There you go. We don't need them.
Is that a motion?
Do we really need to show? Just ask.
Unanimous.
Troy, I appreciate you putting that together.
I spent the better part of this morning putting this together and trying to think of a way that we could help you guys out. But I don't see where general has any additional funds.
So, I mean, just to clarify, so what we're talking about here, and it's not just, so in highway, we're talking about $41,000 for FICA and Medicare, and retirement, we're talking about $81,000. So that's $120,000 plus tax money and balancing, right? That a year we wouldn't have we don't have in our M&O accounts, you know, for highway funds.
That's right.
Now, the challenge that we would have as commissioners, if we said we just wanted to do our highway funds that way and leave the sheriff out in the cold, that's kind of, I mean, if we do one, we would need to pick up the other ones in the cash accounts is kind of what I was looking at. And that's why, you know, this total number of about $670,000 in additional funds for all of the cash accounts, it seems to be a little more significant. But I'm trying to figure out a way maybe we can, I don't know, I'm trying to figure out a way to squeeze that, you know.
trying to figure out a way to spend $2 million when you only have $1 million.
I'm trying to figure out a way to get that $80,000 or that $120,000 back in another account somehow that we can put on roads.
Yes, that'd be nice.
Well,
You see
so maybe we just approve this as is, then we ask for the highway levy account, and if we have it, we have it, if we don't, we don't.
Well, I mean, so if we ask for the highway levy account, that would be a direct offset, that is a direct offset to what we're paying in FICA and Medicare, then.
Well, you can put it on a road, or you can put it in bike, but it's going into the same pot.
And then again, like it's always been, that will be the first thing that we scratch off the
Sure,
list,
exactly.
you know, as we don't have the money for it.
That and safety awards.
Mm-hmm.
Christmas bonus.
Well, I mean, it's obvious, you know, that it's gonna be a struggle to do it, so.
Mm-hmm.
But it's good to have the conversation anyway.
Yes, sir. Again, thanks for putting that
No
together.
problem.
Sure.
Well, you can either ask for it here or ask for it on the end, one of the
That's
two.
it.
Just because you ask for it, don't mean you're gonna get it.
Well,
It's almost 700,000 total.
We,
That couple of years you got 300,000 is why we didn't have any safety net. So y'all do what you want to do.
Gotcha.
oh, here we go with that.
you know, when
It's
when
true.
my wife tells me that, I always try and figure out what I got in trouble for.
Yeah.
What did I just say that got me in trouble? So as far as the current insurance entitlement, I don't think we're gonna be able to dig out another $670 some odd thousand for everybody on that.
I agree.
But
Motion to.
with the rate of growth that we got going on, you know, all the buildings going on, we'll just have to wait and see what kind of, you know, in the near future, in the next couple of years, that may all change too. As fast as Logan County's growing and the
If
South
only that
Florida
meant
is
money to the county though. The county gets so little.
12%.
It does.
Or just under 12%. About 11.6.
10.24 mils
Yep.
is
Right.
what the county
10
gets.
quarter
So
mils.
just over 10% of that tax bill, the county
Uh-huh.
keeps, which is not a lot when you
That's for administration. Yep.
look at it.
So, you like the way it's recommended?
Well, I mean, it is what it is, right? As they say.
Make the motion to approve as recommended.
If the unused is that.
That's.
I'm having a problem with the
Yeah,
math.
you're right. Well, something happened to my ledger, didn't it?
Yeah, the
Oh,
unused.
the 291.
Well,
132.
Yeah,
it is closer to
yeah,
400,000.
yeah. This was an export out of Kelpro, and then I tried to work with it, and
It's
so.
Kelpro.
No, it's not a Kelpro. I should have
Oh,
caught it.
I'm just saying. I'm trying to help you out.
Well, I should have caught it.
Okay, let me do some math here right quick. 240.
About
450.
440.
That's 64 plus
40. 40. Used.
unused is $434,954.27. And that looks to be employee insurance benefits was almost 300,000 unused.
Because, yeah,
I'm bringing that up to help me understand. I know you
okay, so.
you deal with this every day, so
Right.
that's why.
So we offer the 600 per month to each employee, but not every employee may use the full 600 or even take any insurance, but we have to fund it because we offer it to everybody. We need to fund it as if they do.
Right.
And that 291 has been dwindling because we've been eating into that little cushion, as I explained here. And not only that, we have to remember, as we add employees, we add that liability of providing that insurance benefit, so.
Okay. I'm with you there. Because I'm one of them that I don't take the insurance either, because I've got double insurance already and don't really need another one. Okay, then insurance benefit retirement is the next one is the 110,000.
And that's one we've always overfunded in a way as the feed into the rainy day fund. I won't say squirrel away.
Very good. Okay.
The thing with these accounts are not available to be used in any other manner. So it's not like someone says, "Oh, I'm long in salaries. Let me move it to M&O and spend it on what junk." Right? This will always only be, unless there was some emergency we needed to move it to cover. So these accounts have always been looked at as funding long as a build-up to savings.
So it has to stay in the 01-1-2300 series.
Okay, well, let me clarify.
Okay.
Because they're all in the same fund.
Right.
Let's say, God forbid, the building caught on fire. We could move this overage to general government because it's in the same fund if we had to.
Okay.
But what I'm saying is these accounts aren't with a department that someone's gonna say, well, oh, look, we had extra $100,000, so I'm gonna go buy a bunch of junk I don't need.
Right.
Let's spend it because it's there. These 2,300 accounts aren't like that. So it's always been a good place to try to advance the carryover.
So employee benefits insurance last year was $1,100,000. This year we're asking for $1,200,000.
And remember,
And the carryover, I mean, is a
That
percentage
carryover's-
isn't that much.
well, and it's not accurate, and here's why.
Okay.
These numbers are through 6/15. We do not pull insurance until 6/30. So take that 291 and take about 70,000 off, which
So
will be
that
the-
number's not reflected in reserves like the other one was?
Oh, well, yeah, it is, never mind.
Okay. Okay. Sorry.
I need to quit.
Okay. No, I'm good with the
Yeah,
numbers.
yeah.
I just want to make sure I
Yeah,
understand.
yeah.
Anything else, Mark?
No, I mean, we haven't we don't know what the insurance is going up.
No. Never do.
Not yet, still a little early.
I'm sure it's gonna go down this year.
And here's the thing, and I understand, I mean, I've got employees too, and that 600 we'd like to raise. But again, we had all discussed years back that if we ever hit 600, that would be where we topped out at. We couldn't continue to provide the other stuff and keep increasing the amount on the insurance. And I say that with new knowledge I gained last week of how many counties do not pay the maximum allowed for a county to pay towards retirement. there's quite a few counties that make the employees make up a good chunk of their retirement contribution, and we don't do that. That's a huge benefit. And that's based on the gross wage, so there's no cap to that. Every time we give them a raise, we're paying more into retirement on their behalf. So I think that is something we kind of need to make sure our employees understand as well.
That's a good point.
Most employees don't care anything about their retirement until they get our age.
Well, I understand, and
Then it starts
you know,
getting
and because of the turnover, we have more people actually, you know, moving on, pulling out what they paid in and moving on than actually use the retirement. But I try really hard, and Tracy tries when we meet with these youngsters that are coming in to explain how critically important it is, not only that, the fact that it's still a defined benefit plan and not a 401k, because that's all they know in their life, right? Oh, well, do we have a 401? No, this is something, it is antique and it doesn't exist hardly anymore. But it does cost a lot of money to fund it.
Yes, it does. I can reflect that on my M&O
Yes,
when I pay out.
that's right.
So, what are you guys thinking on insurance, retirement, FICA, workman's comp, unemployment?
Well, like you brought up, again, we don't know what the rate's gonna be for
There's an error,
the insurance.
Find an error.
there's an error. I swear I wasn't drunk. On the line item for unemployment, that recommendation should be 55,000, not 555,000 or 50,000.
That change all the other numbers.
Yep.
Ah. So that's an increase of 10%. Yeah, I missed that. So
We
remove
can
the
move that
zero.
number over to retirement.
So what's the total recommendation then would be?
So we took
Just another 5. $555.
So the actual recommendation for unemployment is 55,000, not 550,000.
Right,
And that is another one of those things that is based on wages. It's 1%, so every time wages go up, it goes up.
So that's.
And county general pays 100% of that.
Thanks to who? We used to pay that out of our road funds.
Yes.
That and property and liability and workman's comp. And I think somebody barreled in
Hey, who got that conversation rolling?
to help that out. So unemployment, workman's comp, property and liability, highway does not pay.
I know, well, they used to,
They did used to.
and now we're working on retirement and FICA.
okay, so the total for the estimated needs is $2,190,994.
Well, I guess you could turn all highway money into general and just give you an annual
Hey,
budget.
say that again.
$2,190,994. Or $2,190,994.
Then one of the things that allowed us to do that was the use tax starting to come in, and we allocated the use tax towards general government.
The
in order to be
use,
able to fund
no,
it.
before
In order to be able
you
to
were
fund it.
around,
Mhm.
when the sales tax started and OTC contacted us, well, actually, no, I can tell you how we got the use tax, because there was a big newspaper article in the Daily Oklahoman about how many counties weren't getting the use tax, and Mary Lou saw it. And at the time, there was no health insurance for employees.
Right.
And so it was taken to the board to say, if we collect the use tax, that will get health insurance for the employees. And that is how this county got started with any form of health insurance, was with the use tax,
Thank you.
which comes nowhere near paying for it now.
So, I'll make the motion that we accept the recommended.
Mike made a motion.
Oh, Mike did? Okay,
Yeah.
I will second that then.
Have a motion and a second, any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Charity,
I'm against it.
boy, you're gonna get your own.
It's not our money. Can't be charitable with other people's money. Well, you can, but you gotta change your party affiliation to Democrat.
See, it's amazing when he's not screaming how different these meetings are.
Oh, he's gonna put it up.
So the charity account is typically used to pay for indigent cremation. Again, that's an unknown factor. We never know how many in a year. We've only had a couple this year. We had to turn one down 2 weeks ago that was sent over because upon research, they actually owned property that does not qualify as indigent, so we had to say no.
Sarah,
Yeah,
you okay?
yeah, we got a letter on that one yesterday. I have to show that to you
What's the letter?
from the Attorney General's office that we have to pay for that one.
Why? They own property.
Oh, we'll show you that one.
Because the Attorney General said so.
Well, then let the Attorney General come for this. I mean, that's always been the standard. If they own property, they're not indigent. And they are on the property, on the deed, and the tax rolls. I checked both.
Well, so anyway, it's $17.50. Y'all wanna change it?
Yeah.
Carrying over $950.
So.
But it sounds like we might be writing another check out.
Well, I put the $950 in reserves with no carryover because you didn't know what might come in.
So, the numbers, again, don't, I mean, I'm not throwing rocks, I'm just trying to figure out what the spreadsheet says. We budgeted $17.50 last year, right?
Right.
And that's what we're recommending this year. We've got $950 in reserves and none used.
Right, we spent $800 that left
Right.
$950 unused, but I put it as a reserve because we didn't know if anything would come in between when this was done and the end of the year.
But we don't really have any, we don't have it encumbered then for a use that we know of.
No, that's why it's just reserves. We might still use it. If we don't, it goes to unused and back to the pot, and it sounds like we're gonna have to use $350 of it.
And so we're really gonna have around 600 unused approximately.
Right.
Okay. All right. I move we take this recommendation and approve it.
Second.
Motion and second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, all opposed, the motion carries. County audit,
I'm not saying nothing.
That's the same every time.
So with the county audit, that is statutory requirements that 1/10 of 1 mil each year is appropriated, and that money is what is unspent gets reappropriated plus the additional 1/10 of a mil. It's a ballpark guess, we don't have valuation, so in the budget process, it'll get adjusted to an actual figure. It should not come in any more than the 110,000.
I'll make a motion we approve.
Second.
Motion and second, any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye. Highway.
And this goes back to the highway discussion.
Yes, sir.
Do we ask for anything?
I think we put a $5 block in there just in case.
Well, okay, so I think what Lonnie's saying is on the estimated needs, if you you need to ask for a lot and then understand you might get $5.
So, okay, on the estimate of needs, I think what I had talked about earlier, let me do some math here. Again. 41,000.
We could just put 300 on there, so we go fine. Let
Plus
them shut it down.
81,000.
Most likely, we're not gonna get anything.
Most likely.
6.
If we don't ask for it, I know we won't.
480.
That's it.
So we got we've got $122,719.81 coming out for FICA, Medicare, and retirement out of our highway fund, or out of our road fund now. So,
Oh, wait, I'm not sure you're on where you're getting those numbers.
from you.
97, okay, so for your district, 97,000 and 46,000.
No, excuse me, I'm off on that. I was looking at the unexpended numbers. Let me re-add those again. Get on the right column.
Looking encumbered.
I was looking, yeah. From going from one spreadsheet to another, I got mixed up on columns.
Mhm.
Sorry. Okay, so 130 and 280. Holy smoke.
And you still have to add another payroll to that.
We can handle one payroll.
There you go.
Yeah, sort of. 130,
So about 415.
5, 3, 11 plus.
$456, 197.81.
280.
That's what it appears to be.
That's just retirement, all funds. What he's looking at is just highway fund. This was if we had to pick up retirement for all these funds.
So all officers pick up.
What do you come up with, Tim?
56.
$411,652.85.
Oh, that would be for these additional funds.
Yes.
So what we'll
Yeah.
ask for, 300,
500,
500?
if we're gonna ask.
So $500,015.
No.
500.
I might as well ask for $1 million.
Go big.
So yeah, we've got $411,652.85 a year short one pay period coming out of our, what would be M&O in our highway fund for this. Not that we'll ever get it back. No, I mean, what we've asked for 100,000 each before, that's probably
More possible.
So is that in the form of a motion?
Alright, so, yes, I will make that motion
I'll say.
for a $300,000 highway levy.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, motion carries. So that kind of completes that, if I'm not mistaken. So next would be item 6, any citizens there to be heard? Hearing none. 7, comments, announcements, questions by the board? Hearing none.
I just wanted to thank Troy for putting that spreadsheet together for us on our insurance deal. That gave us a good perspective on
Mhm.
what it cost.
How many employees didn't you?
Number 8, consideration possible action on adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
Motion second, all in favor, say aye. Adjourn.